Alright, let's continue our texture work. Inside the Chord Matte folder, I'm going to create a fill layer. This is something we've done before. I'm going to name this one Dust Dirt, and I'll turn off all the channels except for color and roughness. Turn the roughness up because dirt is rough. And then I'm going to add a smart mask to it, the Dust Plastic mask to be specific. And then I'll just go through and I will play with the sliders on the mask editor until I get something that I like. And I don't want it to be too strong, but it does need to look aged, right? And I can always play with the original, the actual layer, the roughness of it, and the color of it. Next, I'm going to add a paint layer to the dust mask. And I can go through if I want and paint a little bit of extra dust in certain spots. I can experiment with different brushes. Just a little bit here and there, just to break it up more. Next, I'll add a fill layer above the dust dirt layer, and I'll name it Rough Pass. Turn off everything but the roughness. Add a black mask. Right-click on the black mask, add a fill. Take my scratch alpha and drag it into the fill. Then I will play with the scale until I get something I like. Next, I'm going to go to the chord text mask, and I will choose a brush, and then I'm going to go through and paint out. Well, I need to add paint to the chord text mask first. Then I will choose black, and then I can slowly start to paint away some of this text so it's not so vivid, and I'm just reduce the flow on my brush in order to do this. We just kind of want a hint of the text. I'm going to go to 2D only to make this a little bit easier on myself. That's looking pretty good for the chord. Let's do the plug next. So I'm going to go to the plug matte layer. I'll add a fill layer, and I'm going to go through the same process where I name this dirt, and then turn off all the channels except for color and rough. Choose the color I want for the dirt, which I can always tweak later. And then I'll choose a smart mask. In this case, just dirt. I actually don't like this one, so I'm going to choose dirt cavities instead. I'm going to go through the anchor process, so I'll go to height stamps, and I will right click on the plug rectangle, add a mask, or add an anchor to it, and then I'll reference that anchor in the micro height of the dirt layer in the mask builder. I'm going to crank this grunge up pretty high in the mask editor, the mask builder. And right now there's just too much of this, but it's going to be easy enough to take it back by right-clicking on the mask, in addition adding paint, as well as turning the opacity down a bit. So now that I've added a paint to the mask, then I'm going to select the Dirt 2 brush, turn the flow down, decrease the size of it, and start to paint away some of this dirt. If it's going too slowly, it's a good sign that, my flow was too low, so I needed to turn it back up again. Let me change my grayscale to white so that I can paint on the text Nintendo. Then I'll create a rough pass fill layer, turn the roughness up, add a black mask, add a fill to that black mask, and then drag in my custom scratch alpha that I made. And then I'll play again with the scale of that alpha until I get something that I like. It is a little too shiny overall, so I do end up playing with the roughness of the plug itself to increase it a little bit. Great, and finally, let's go to the tools section, add a new paint layer on the very top, and select the screw bolt tool. I'll name this layer screws. And with the tool selected, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and turn wearing up just a little bit. People will not really be able to see this, so I'm not super concerned. But then I can just scroll in, scale my brush down, and stamp a little bolt in. Or a little screw in, excuse me. And once this is over, the texture work is done. In the next video, we'll go ahead and export our textures so that we can bring our model into other engines.